Welcome to Toss the Titles Down Under Dynasty with your host at Live from the Ben, and with me, as usual, my co-host at FF Matt. How are you today, Matt?
Mate, I'm doing wonderfully well, as usual. Just counting down to football season, 14 days, 3 hours and 15 minutes, I think it is. Just getting all excited, my spider senses are tingling. Counting down. How about you, Matt?
I'm counting down to my weekend, which starts after tomorrow because we took Friday off to go away for a little trip, just for 3 days. And yeah.
Nice. Where are you off to?
Just up to Bendigo, just up the road.
Gold mining town.
Yeah, little gold mining town. Not as famous for its gold mining as Ballarat, but gold mining did happen there, and yeah, it's a buzzing little community there in Bendigo. I'll probably stop at Castlemaine on the way up, maybe. And yeah,
half your luck. I've been to Ballarat. Took the kids to Ballarat. That was fantastic. Really good people.
Right,
good actors
you didn't
there.
see me. You would have been right in my house. That's fine.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I'm only like an hour and a half from Ballarat. It's okay. My feelings.
We've got to tee it up. We've got to make it happen.
What, in Ballarat?
Somewhere.
If you get to New York to see John before me, I'll be pretty salty.
Never.
Well, you are going there next year.
All right. Yeah, hopefully I'm going there. Fingers crossed.
That's the plan, right? That's the plan.
That's the plan. That's it.
So, what interesting things are happening in the world of football and fantasy football and your fantasy football leagues?
Football, Tom Brady's about to be unmasked as one of the masked singers.
Is that rumor going around? Do you reckon that's true?
I don't think so, but it was a great rumor. I think I put it in the last Spring Break episode. The boys thought I was joking, but I think it was Kendall from the I'm not going to murder her last name, but she had to put a little snippet out there about how Brady had to fulfill his Fox obligations, and so that's a Fox program, and it was gone for a couple of weeks, and they've had Gronk and AB and whatnot on there. So I don't think it's true. I think he was just I think if you watch that Brady episode, Man in the Arena, when he talks about time with his kids, he was tearing up a couple of times. He's really saying that he's not as good as father as his father was to him. So I think it just looks like he wanted to spend a bit more time with the family and with his only kids, So probably just took a couple of weeks off to spend with them, and now he's back into it.
Is this it? Is this the final year of Tom Brady?
I think if he wins, I think he might back it up. I reckon it's, he's still going out on top. He's breaking more records and one more ring. Yeah, it could be this year, but we haven't seen a decline yet. So if it's if you love, it's something that you love doing, and you got a good roster around you, and you're still at the top of your skills, why would you leave? Just run it back.
Why would you? I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, like you said, like he seemed really upset about not spending time with his kids and not being as good a father as he could have been.
Could be that.
He's got that massive deal, that announcing deal lined up, and I mean, I'm sure the guy prepares better than anyone in the world for what he does. But compared to rolling out of bed and playing quarterback, he'll be able to do that in his sleep and probably be great at it.
Yeah, we shall see.
Pardon?
We shall see.
Can't hear.
See how we go. Yeah. Hear me now?
Hello?
Hello? You got me?
Yeah, I can hear.
Okay. That's weird.
A bit strange. It's a bit quiet.
I think just in other news, I think Tyquan Thornton just went out for 8 weeks. That's a bit of a bummer for Pats fans. I think it's a massive issue for NFL fantasy. I think he was sort of never really going to be massive for anyone. Maybe Mac Jones could use another speed receiver. But yeah, apart from that, not a lot of news floating around.
Well, I have some news.
You got some news?
Yeah.
Breaking news.
This guy in this league that I'm in sent me Traylon Burks and a 24 Devi second for Brees Hall. I mean,
I thought your Burks love was going ballistic. Your Burks love was
just one of those trades that makes you want to quit fantasy football.
No, it's not as bad as some that I've gotten in that league from some unmentionable people.
Willie Beeman. Anyway.
No, I know you love Burks, so this was just.
I do love Burks, but not that much. What's the difference in their startup ADP?
Don't bring reason into it.
Huh?
Don't bring reason into it.
I'm just gonna have a look. So Brees
I'm
Hall.
gonna pull up one of your Kraken trades that you sent me in.
Huh? Brees Hall is RB10 going 34.75 overall in the latest DLF ADP. Traylon Burks is wide receiver 30 going 88 overall. Jesus.
So is that a no, Ben? Or
pardon?
Is that a no then, or?
Yeah, that's a no. And then I send you back quite a reasonable trade.
Reasonable.
Just instant rejection.
Reasonable. No, I think I would never trade Luther Burden. I'm pretty high on Luther. So yeah, I think
he's at least 3 years away from doing anything for you.
He's my boy. He's my man. So I think
you people
he's
get
one of those
too attached to the guys you take in Devi. Too attached.
Well, it's worked out pretty well for me in that league. I think I've hit the jackpot on most. I did draft Johnny Brown, which, terrible news for Johnny Brown that he's not playing. But yeah, I've done pretty well there, Devi wise. But yeah, I don't know. Some guys you just draft because they're boys, right? Like Corey Davis. For yourself.
Yeah, it's over. The love affair is gone.
No, he's still. I think he was nearly on my list. He was nearly on my list today of league winners. I think he's still got some value.
Yeah, I don't think he'll produce enough to be a league winner. League winner's not going to get you, 700 yards isn't a league winner.
So let's just talk about that definition of a league winner in this sense, right? So we're not talking about Josh Allen as a league winner. Obviously, if you got him, he's going to do well, but we're saying that these guys are all going to outperform their ADP. So Josh Allen's pretty much the 101 in Superflex. There's no way he can perform that ADP, right? Well, I think pretty much most Superflex leagues he's the 101 or 102.
Yeah. I'm seeing Herbert. Herbert is the QB1 in the Superflex DLF ADP.
DLF got no idea. No idea. No, look, they're there and thereabouts. I mean, it's not really worth doing a podcast on.
No. Look, to me, these have got to be guys who. Right? Yeah, to me, these have got to be guys who substantially smash their ADP.
Yeah, substantially smash it. Even we're talking about guys that maybe it's your QB, you're starting 3 wide receivers, it's your wide receiver 4 flex, or even just for bye week coverage or injuries. If you can hit on those, that can be the difference between a first week bye or not having that bye. Which it's a lot of this is luck, right? To get there is your skill, but once you're in there, you could be up against an Alvin Kamara 70-point game or something. You just don't know. So to get that first week bye, I think that's really key to winning your league or going deep in your league. So that's sort of what we're talking about. These guys that you drafted them at a discount, or you're buying them at a discount. Hey, Coach.
I think that's a great segue into our buys and sells. So, not enough hoodies. Yeah, I'm not rocking the hoodie.
It's cold enough for the hoodie.
It is cold enough for the hoodie.
That's why I got mine. There you go.
Yeah. No, I'm not rocking it today. So, all right. And I see that you've used Sleeper ADP. Ooh.
Yeah, I think they released some. Yeah, I know. Not a massive fan, but
nice call by Jerry. Good call, Jerry.
Juju. Yeah, I think
he's not on our list, but he's definitely someone who could do that. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think he'll smash ADP. He's definition of a league winner. I think we're both pretty high on Juju. He's undervalued and massive ceiling, so could be a good call there. You want to go first, Benny, or
no? You go first, mate. So you, who's your quarterback? Who you think's going to smash ADP?
Smash ADP according to Sleeper Dynasty. ADP Jameis Winston is the QB 23. So I think he just needs to stay healthy, and you can mark him down as a QB 1 or thereabouts. I think he's definitely going to have a massive jump from that QB 23 overall. Like Michael Thomas is back on the field, though he did twinge a hammy, right? So you don't really want to see that. But he's also got Jarvis Landry. I think he's going to be such a great buy for them. And then Olave as well. They've drafted Olave. So, he's gone from Callaway and Traquan Smith to those dudes. Another season. He looked pretty good last year. It's a bit of a shame to see him get injured. And, I just really feel for him. He's put in so much work, and I think he copped a bit of a battering. People question his workouts and whatnot, but, I just think he's put in a lot of work, and I think he's turned a bit of a corner when he signed with the Saints, and I think he's a massive value. If he's your QB2, he could be in for big things.
What if he's your QB3?
Even better if he's your QB3. I think that's that's great. It's a great buy.
Yeah, look, I agree with that one, and I think he's a nice little dynasty buy, especially because the Saints having traded their 23 firsts to have 22 firsts. Not that you never say never in the NFL, because we've seen strange things happen, but they don't really have a mechanism to replace him with somebody who would be better, I think. So I think he's going to get you at least 2 years, and then if he plays well, as you are projecting him to do, could really be wheels up for him. So, and I do think as well he'll have a good year. I'm really excited for him. Actually, last off season, and this ended up hurting me pretty badly. I actually traded Tom Brady for Winston, straight up.
You traded the GOAT.
Yeah. Well, I thought he was going to, fall off. Pretty silly of me, but
only reason he's going to fall off is if he retires. He would have been feeling pretty good the end of last year when he actually did.
No, it was the off season before.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, before he had this massive year. So
yeah. Well, still, last year you would have been saying to yourself that's a good move because he's retired and you would have lost all value, but he has come back again. But look, I think the only question about Winston is Sean Payton leaving, right? How's that going to affect things? But we're not saying he's going to be the quarterback 2 or 3, right? We're just saying borderline QB1. So I think it's a massive ask. I think he'll be fine.
Yeah. I think he'll be good too. Jerry's here. Jerry is saying Cousins consistently beats his ADP. And that's true. So it'd be interesting to see what Cousins does in that offense, if they throw up more, if they really go to that pass first kind of mentality. Maybe he could put up, career numbers. He's put up pretty good numbers on the Vikings. He's just, I don't know. He's someone who always falls through the cracks. He's not really a sexy player to own. He's one of those guys you're always worried in the back of your head is going to lose his job. I don't think he's going to lose his job. I think he's, a good buy. But I mean, we've tried to go a bit deeper here, a bit more even, under the radar, and well, not under the radar because none of these players are going to be under the radar to anybody watching our podcast, because anybody watching our podcast is a fantasy football tragic. But
he is criminally underrated, though, isn't he, Cousins? He is always disrespected, and look at the weapons he's got. I think it's a good call too.
Yeah. Good call, Jerry. I mean, the guy's always putting up 4,000 yards, 30 touchdowns. Yeah. Look, my guy is pretty unpopular at the moment, and that's Carson Wentz. He was a high end QB2. I think he was traveling around QB13, QB14 before he got COVID, and after that he fell off a cliff and finished as I think the QB18. But he's in Washington now. They're going to throw it more than he was allowed to throw it in Indianapolis. I think he's got the best set of weapons that he's ever had in his career. And I think that we'll see like a career high in passing yards, and maybe not a career high in touchdowns, because I think he had that 34 1 year with the Eagles, but I think he'll surpass 30 touchdowns. So I think you're looking at around 4,300 yards and over 30 touchdowns, and that he's going to be right there as a high-end QB, a low-end QB1 or a high-end QB2. And right now he's a back-end QB2. DLF ADP is QB25, ADP 84 overall in Superflex startups. So I think he's going to end up being a tremendous value.
Yeah, he is already, right? He's so cheap. You can get him pretty cheap now. I think a second probably gets him in most league. I don't think you can get a first for him if you're trying to sell him. I doubt many people pay a first for a starting quarterback. But I think in most formats last year, he was just outside the QB1, right? He was QB 13, 14, but he's not being valued as that. He's just going so late, and you can see that upside with the receivers they've got at Washington. I think Indy were a run-first offense last year, so be interesting to see how it pans out.
Jerry just here spitting facts. I mean, that is true, Jerry. We can't debate that. He's got to kind of pull it all together, and be able to do more than just throw the deep ball. But with the weapons Washington have in the pass game, I think he can do that.
I think you're not risking a lot too, are you? If you do buy Carson Wentz and it doesn't pan out,
the investment's minimal.
If you're buying a Zach Wilson or a Justin Fields and they have a bad year, it's a bit of a different story than if you're just chucking a second or maybe a second or a third to get a starting QB.
Yeah. So look, let's move on to our next position. We'll do running backs. Who's your running back?
Ramondre Stevenson for me. Sleeper Dynasty ADP, he's 128 overall in the 10th round. He's going just ahead of Michael Carter. Supposedly, that's hard to believe for me. But if you watch the film, he just looked sensational at times last year. I think in his debut game, it might have been his second game, he came on and ran a wheel route for like 30-odd yards and just had a good couple of snippets. He just looked electric with the ball in his hands. And then with Bill Belichick talking him up, he's talking both him and Harris up, but basically saying that Stevenson had taken a massive step from last year. He considered him an all-three down back. He said the same thing for Harris, not trying to talk smoke. He did say the same thing for both running backs. But he pretty much said that he views them both as an all-three down back, and he noted that was a change to how they performed differently, or how they viewed their running backs differently. So there's a bit of talk about the Pats trading on Isaiah Wynn, which I hope that doesn't happen. I think if there is a bit of cap trouble this year, there might be Harris who gets traded, or even who knows, cut.
I love Damien Harris.
Yeah.
He's not going to get cut, man. The guy was a beast last year.
Yeah, I don't think he'll get cut. He might get traded, but yeah, I think that there's talk. Yeah, there's talk of that happening, but traded, not cut. But I just think if Isaiah Wynn or Damien Harris was going to get traded, you can't replace Isaiah Wynn as easily as you can Damien Harris. Even if he doesn't, I still think that's a massive value. If he just takes a bit more of that running game, that third down back, goal line back, and then he takes all of James White's pass catching, which he's excelled at already. Yeah, I think he can jump up at least a couple of rounds, and he could easily be an RB2 or your flex RB, which you're getting just ahead of Michael Carter.
No, it's an interesting call. I don't like it as much as a quarterback call. The New England backfield is just not one I enjoy being involved with.
Yeah, he does sort of crush our fantasy dreams, but doesn't he? Drafted Sonny Michel, and then the next year he drafts Damien Harris, and it'd be great if they just gave them one of them, a bulk of carries. But there's not many running backs nowadays that have that massive workload, right? There's a couple, but there's not, Najee and CMC, maybe Barkley, if he's healthy. There's not tons, right? Like even Javonte's still got Michael Gordon hanging around. So,
but they use real draft capital on a running back for Pierre Strong as well.
Yeah, I don't know how ready he's going to be. I'm not sure how much of the field he's going to take, but I view that as Harris's last year. This year, there's no way he gets re-signed. So I think Strong and even Harris, not Harris, the other running back. Can't remember the other running back. They drafted 2 running backs, right? I think they're brought in just to take over from Damien Harris when he leaves or he's traded.
Yep.
Yeah, he just looked great on tape too. So.
No, I agree. So my guy, wait, Jerry's got. Let's show. Brian Robinson is Jerry's sleeper.
I like the second part.
I like the Dobbins call. I'm not in on Brian Robinson. I think Gibson's the guy there, and he's going to reestablish himself in season. But I like Dobbins. Dobbins, I think, could have a huge year, especially if Gus Edwards takes a little bit longer to get right.
Yeah, I did say, didn't he? The coach did say that Gus Edwards was behind Dobbins. So I like that call too.
Yep. And then RB. My RB, I've got CEH. DLF RB27 going 89 overall in the Superflex ADP. Look, it's his first healthy off season. I think Tyreek Hill going. I know they've brought in some more weapons, but they lost some players as well. Besides Tyreek Hill, Brian Pringle, for example, Sammy. Oh no, not that was like the season before. But look, they've lost some players. And I just think that there's an opportunity for him now to be that pass catching back, and really, all he has to do to smash his ADP going at RB27, 89 overall is to stay healthy. If he has a healthy year, he's easily going to be a mid RB2, easily, and he could be a high end RB2, low end RB1.
I thought Isaiah Pacheco had beat him out already.
Who?
Yeah, exactly. That's
Pacheco's Darwin Thompson all over again.
Yeah, I think you might have some value if Ronald Jones moves on. But yeah, I like that call too. I just think because a lot of people moved him up to their RB1, and he was banged up a little bit last year. I think that's why his value's there. So if he takes another step, and like you say, I think the key is if he just stays healthy. I think you can write that story that he could be a massive value. So I like that.
Thank you. I'm here all week. Try the lamb. All right. Who's your wide receiver? Oh, you've gone deep here.
Yeah, look, my wide receiver, again, we're saying, this could be for buy coverage or, if you've got to start 3 wide receivers, maybe you get someone injured and he's your wide receiver 4 or 5. Is Devontae Parker. Just because he is free. He's wide receiver 78 on sleeper ADP, and he probably should be. That's probably his value. But I just think for the production that you can potentially get, he's a sneaky buy. I think, as mentioned earlier, Tyquan Thornton's out for 8 games. So he's 100% locked in as the Pats wide receiver 1. I think he's the wide receiver 1 over Jacoby Myers. He's looked good in camp. He's made some pretty good contested catches. Seems to have something going with Mac Jones. And then last year, before he's banged up, the first 4 games, he got like 32 targets. So that's pretty good for someone you're not really paying anything for. So I think, if he keeps building that rapport with Mac Jones, which I think he's done, and then it's a contract year. I think it's a contract year. And we've seen these guys that, sometimes are a bit hot and cold when they're playing for their futures and for maybe one last decent contract. Sometimes it gets the best out of them. So, yeah, I think Devontae Parker can easily outperform that ADP of wide receiver 78.
I love it. I've always had a soft spot for Parker and just feel that the guy hasn't been in great situations, which is, I guess, ironic because I kind of do like Tua. But look, my worry there is that Mac Jones doesn't have the arm to really utilize Devontae Parker.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that at all. I think he's been okay in camp. I think we've seen it on the field. It's just that Parker has been injured. So that's the only worry I've got. If he can stay healthy, it just seems to do that all the time, right? If he can stay healthy, but I think he beats the injury curse this year. Has a healthy season, and could easily be even if he's a wide receiver 5, he's still outperforming his ADP by a couple of rounds. So look in Devontae Parker for me.
All right. Well, the wide receiver I have as smashing his ADP, and considering the circumstances, I'm surprised that he's not higher. Christian Kirk, wide receiver for the Jacksonville Jaguars, wide receiver 51, going 132 overall in DLF's August ADP. My reasoning is this: that the Jags paid him like a wide receiver 1, and I think they're going to pepper him with targets like a wide receiver 1. My thoughts are that he'll see a career high in targets. I reckon about 150. And, I mean, even if his catch rate is just around his career average, that he's going to catch 90 balls. I think he'll catch 90 balls and have about 1,200 yards. I think he's got that capability in him with Doug Peterson as the coach, calling the plays, and the step forward that Trevor Lawrence is going to take, and the money they paid him. They paid him like a wide receiver 1. They've got a plan for him. I believe in it.
He reset the market, didn't he? I think after he got paid, a lot of wide receivers just said thank you very much and cashed in. I'm really excited about the Jags this year. I think since Urban Meyer's gone, I think it was just a disaster there. And I don't know if you had the pleasure of working with some Muppet for a boss before, but it just makes everything you do just a dredge, and it just could be terrible, right? So I think, Doug Peterson comes on, just gives everyone a fresh start. I think a lot of players seem to love Doug, so I think he'll get the best out of Lawrence. I like what I've seen so far in camp. Not that I've watched and preseason, not that I've watched tons and tons of Jags preseason, but the bits I've seen looks like he's start to sling it, get his confidence back a bit. Trevor Lawrence. So, if Trevor Lawrence has a big season, it's pretty logical to think Kirk will have a decent season too.
Look, that's my reasoning for it. And yeah, I just, you got to follow the money, mate. You got to follow the money sometimes.
There's definitely plenty to follow.
Pardon?
There's definitely plenty there to follow too, right? He got a massive,
plenty of dollars to follow. Just on Urban Meyer, are Fox really going to bring him back?
That's the rumor, right? That is the rumor that he's coming back. I don't know. I saw some remarks somewhere. I guess he'd rate pretty well.
Yeah. Why? Why would he rate well?
Have you bought his book?
No.
He's got a couple of books out on leadership.
Leadership. He's a joke.
Yeah, it didn't go well for him, did it? Some of the, I think he was talking about kicking a punter or kicking a kicker, and just seemed to be an absolute disaster.
It's rubbish.
Jags fans deserve better.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're going to have it now this season, so good luck to them.
I think so, yeah. I think so.
Now, who do you have as your breakout tight end? Well, sorry, not you're undervalued. You're undervalued tight end.
Albert Aquaman. I think he is sleeper ADP tight end 16 for Dynasty, which I think is pretty low for a young tight end. And the main reason is just, I think Russell Wilson coming in is going to make a little difference. I think Fant's gone, so he's the tight end there. I saw a little snippet saying that, he needed some extra snaps. So he played a fair bit of the preseason. But I just think with his athletic ability and the fit there, plus an injury at wide receiver, I think he's a massive value. And because he is so young, it's not hard to get into tight end one territory as a tight end, right? The top 4 or 5 out of the question, but tight end 11 or 12. It's not you don't have to have a massive season to pull that off. So I think
is that smashing ADP though, going at tight end 16?
With tight end 16, I think if he gets a tight end 12 season under his belt, he's not going to be tight end 16 next year. I think he'll be a young ascending tight end. So yeah, you're paying tight end 2 prices, but getting a tight end 1.
That's fair. Well, again, I mean, I've gone deeper than you because I'm just more hardcore. What can I say?
deeper than Devonta Parker. Come
on. Nah. Look, the guy I've got here is Hayden Hurst. He's currently tight end 22, 180 overall on DLF's August ADP. Look, he was a solid option for the Falcons in 2020 before they got Pitts. 56 catches at about 10 yards a pop. And I think he's better than the guy that he's replacing. And he's going to go into the best passing offense of his career. All right. And I expect him to surpass the season that he had with Atlanta in 2020. I think we can look at, 60, 65 catches for, 650, 700 yards. I'm pretty high on him compared to consensus, and I think he's super cheap. I think he will be a tight end 1.
Will be a tight end 1.
Yep.
Jeez, that is high. Lock it in.
Oh, bathroom board that.
I was about to say we're gonna bathroom board that because I don't think he can.
Hayden Hurst tight end 1. Tight end 1. A top 12 tight end.
A top 12 tight end. Let's lock it in. I like CJ. I'm not going to try and murder his last name, but I think there's Uzoma. Yeah, I don't think there's a massive difference between them really, and I think he's the 4th option there. I think he's a good. It's a good call, but I think it might be just a tight end 1. He probably just miss out. I reckon, but you could see it happening.
Yeah, look, I think Hayden Hurst is a lot better than Uzoma as a receiver.
We shall see. We're going to find out.
See. Yeah, we will find out, sir.
14 days.
Well, it'll take a bit longer than that to find out, but that's when we'll commence finding out.
We'll start. I've got an honourable mention. Just in any league that you have kickoff or punt return yardage points. It's the Dallas specialist, Gavona Turpin. I think he scored a couple of unbelievable. I think he returned a kick and returned a punt in their last game and just looked sensational. I think he was he's at USFL. He was their player of the year, their MVP. So only for those leagues where you get those bonuses. If you don't get that, I think it's not even worth rostering. You could get a bit of receiving work too with some players out, but I think that's mainly it's just that kickoff and punt return yards, and you can get him for free. He's on waivers, so I've just been picking up everywhere where I have leagues where they give you that bonus. And again, if it's you got to start some leagues we're playing, you got to start 12 players, so you're going pretty deep there.
I hate those leagues.
Yeah,
I play too much.
Scott,
Scott, like, why are you doing that to us, bro?
Torture.
Why?
We want a 10-team start 4. all flex spots everywhere. No, look, I think he just looks electric. With what he's on, I heard that he had a bit of some issues with domestic violence and whatnot. That sort of is a reason why he wasn't picked up earlier, and he seems to have overcome those and got some counselling and whatnot, and has made his way back on the field. So I think he's just a talent with the ball in his hand. If he can get some, receiving work as well, might be a good buy there. But even if he doesn't, if you have those leagues where you get those bonuses,
it's all gravy if he gets any receiving work. Yeah, absolutely. That's a good look. That's a nice call. I like it.
And he's free.
Free. You can go get him probably in most of your leagues right now.
$3.99. You can't get him in the leagues I'm in because I've stuck him everywhere. If there's a bonus that is for return yards.
Now we've almost wrapped up. We've got to flog the Patreon. So please join the Toilet Styles Patreon. The tier 1 is only $3 per month. All right. And tier 1 gets you into the team group chat. Then we've got tier 2. It's $5 per month. Early access to our waiver wire episodes. Entry into our Frankenstein Lists League. Full this year, but you get a spot next year. All right. It's going from 60 teams to 96 teams. It's going from 60 teams this year all the way up to 9. I think it's going up to 96 teams next year. This thing just keeps growing and growing. That means the prize money is going to keep growing and growing. And you can assure yourself a spot in a league by subscribing to the tier 2 at $5 per month. Then tier 3 is $7.50 per month. Gets you early access to the waiver wire episodes, entry into our Frankenstein Listener League, 2-to-T team group chat, and one-on-one draft advice. Then tier 4, $10 per month. One-on-one roster analysis, one-on-one draft advice, free entry into our Frankenstein Listener League. Free entry. That's a $15 saving. You could technically subscribe for 1 month at tier 4, get free entry into the league, then unsubscribe to tier 4. But I'm not telling you that, okay? I'm not telling you that, but you could potentially maybe do it. Anyway, team group chat, early access to the waiver wire episodes. Then tier 5, $20 per month. Everything above. And look, this one's all about you. When you sign up for tier 5, you get to email us a link to one of your fantasy football leagues, and we will do a special 30-minute episode, breaking down that league. We'll talk rosters, draft, trades, and more. So deep dive into one of your very own fantasy football leagues. What more could you want?
I think a massive part of the Patreon, if you get to those high levels, you get that one-on-one draft advice or trade advice or whatnot. There's so many of us with different skills at Toss the Titles. You got college guys, you got IDP guys, dynasty guys, redraft guys, DFS guys. You get the whole lot. There's so many unique and talented individuals as well as myself too. Not everyone can be great. But yeah, you get it all. So I think that's underrated. $20, that's the price of a latte in Melbourne, I think. So
we bring the mediocrity.
That's it.
Not towards titles, it's just us.
just the duds. The dynasty duds.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, was there anything else you wanted to mention, sir, before we jumped off?
No, I think we covered it. Just can't wait. 2 weeks and we got some real action.
Because I guess we can get off then, and you can offer me a decent trade.
Please, man. I'm bringing yours on blast next
what?
week. Tune in, guys. Tune in. It's going to be nasty.
I only you totally overrate like those Devy players, even the stud freshmen. They're valued like mid-second round picks. I can't
trade Luther. I won't trade him. He's my boy. Yeah, well, go watch him on 24/7 Sports.
That's okay.
He's
all right.
He's playing against no ones, but he looks great. So,
he's the number one college prospect. He should look great. Number one high school prospect. He should look great with those guys. But remember, Donovan Peoples-Jones was the number one prospect. Nico Collins was a very high prospect. Lots of high prospects don't pan out, man.
Why are you trying to buy him then?
No, because he could pan out. Because he could pan out. All right, that's all right. I'm going to go offer you another trade you'll reject.
Never.
Huh? You're not getting Hall. Do you want ATN? Because Hall's not available.
Yeah, possibly. Mate rates, right? Mate rates. You're a business league, right?
If we're both mates, shouldn't I get mate rates as well? So if I get mate rates and you get mate rates, then it has to be an even trade. That's how it works.
Yeah, that's perfect. Win-win.
All right. Well, I got to go into the city tomorrow, so I'm hanging up now.
Enjoy.
Ciao.